now. Hey everyone, welcome to another Coffee Code and Chat podcast where we talk to interesting people about cool things that they're doing. And I have an amazing guest today. His name is Tapas. If you not sure who he is, this is a perfect channel for you, but I discovered him on Twitter because of something cool that he's doing. He has a cool project called React Play, which we'll definitely talk about. But before we get too far, why don't you give us a quick introduction, how you started in development, and what do you typically do?
Okay, sure. Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me here. And I'm really delighted that I'm going to share about React Play and all other stuff that I keep doing. So I'm a web developer, come full stack developer. That's what I can kind of tell myself. I have started my coding journey almost 15 plus years back. So it's a long way back. And I like teaching. I like a lot of content creation using the written content, microblogging. Very recently started a YouTube channel with the video content. And whatever the ways that I kind of learn, I try to kind of share with people. And open source enthusiasts like who kind of look forward to provide a lot of contributions to open source, at the same time maintaining a lot of open source projects, mostly from the education purposes. So that's very much is my background.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's a long time in web development. A lot of good experience, I bet.
Yeah.
So let's literally just like dive right into it. And I am going to talk about your YouTube channel and about your website and about writing. But I definitely first really want to jump into React Play and kind of talk about what was the motivation for creating this project, what it was like working on an open source project. And I'll share the links as well.
Sure. Yeah, so React Play was not started as an open source project, first of all. Okay, the history goes like this. I was kind of starting a playlist on my YouTube channel about teaching React. And when I was teaching React, I was getting comments like, okay, fine, you're teaching us the fundamentals. Where can we go for practicing? Then actually I was talking about, hey, why don't you build this a calculator, or why don't you build this particular website, that website? Then they were asking me that, how do you know that I'm building it correctly? Who can actually do the code review? Who can actually tell me that this is the right way of building things with React? Then I thought, okay, fine. I probably create a small app and I'll kind of put it out to few people where they can actually start creating their project. They dump it in, they create a pull request. And whenever I get a time, I just go there, review their pull request, tell them that what is the right way to use React. And at the end of it, they feel good, like they have learned something. So like that, I started with couple of folks, and they actually gave me the comment saying that, okay, it's been very useful. Like they built a couple of applications and I could code review them. And then they felt like, okay, they have learned a lot of stuff through the review process. And finally, there is something which is publicly out that they have built. So the joy of kind of building something. Then I thought, okay, let's put it out. Why to kind of keep it with myself and a few folks? That's when I thought of making it open source. Purchased a domain, reactplay.io, and then just kept it out. And it got a good traction. Like there are folks who try to learn this hard way, I would say. It's not about just following a YouTube tutorial or some kind of content and just following the tutor and kind of building something. Is build something by your own and also make sure that you're building it right way. So I think that's make a lot of difference. And that's why I'm seeing there are a good amount of traction going on in the platform.
That is such a brilliant idea, because one of the most important ways to learn, it's not so much doing tutorials, but it's literally building things from scratch. And the fact that you have a community where you could interact with people, can take a look at your code, do pull requests or give you feedback, that's already like so amazing. And that's awesome. I'm glad. And the reason I discovered you, by the way, I have a member of our community. On YouTube, he goes by Engine Boy, but it's Shiam, and I hope I pronounced his name wrong. I'm so bad with names, but he's awesome dude. He shared actually a bunch of stuff he built with us as well, and so I discovered React Play because he's been talking a lot about it, and I was like, man, this looks like so awesome, such a good project. So shout outs to him. But yeah, it's really cool. So by the way, everybody go to their GitHub. I threw it on the link already, and start the project. They have 501 stars right now, 502 now. But go and start the project. Check it out. Check out the website. It's a lot of fun. So based on React Play, what do you see it going in the future, or are you happy with where it is like today in terms of like, are you going to add additional features or additional things to it?
Yeah. So we have a lot of plans. I mean, I'm probably getting greedy day by day, seeing that the way it is going. Before it has just a single page where people were putting their projects and just a kind of simple list of it. We want to do a lot of stuff. For example, we want to add a leaderboard, like people who are creating a lot of projects, and we want to kind of show them, like we can showcase them. We are already doing something called contributors of the month. We started from the last month, and so we want to keep doing the best contributor of the month. We want a particular contributor to get their profile built out of React Play platform. So it means
Nice.
that you come to React Play, create projects, write blogs, create content. Just a minute of time, you just can create your beautiful profile, and the profile you can actually share with anybody, right? So that gives you some kind of authority, like, oh, you have done so much of work, and this is where it is, and people can even look into the work, not only that something that you built, but also about the blog or any kind of content you create related to that. So like that, we have a lot of such plan that coming up.
Yeah, that is so awesome. And I'm like showing the platform so people could see, and all the contributors that contribute to the project. It's fantastic. And I like this idea of, because you hit the nail on the head with this idea of how do you show social proof that you are a developer, especially if you go in the non-traditional route, like either self-taught or even if you want to boot camp. At the end of the day, you do have to show projects and stuff you build. And I like what you're doing is because you're giving people opportunity to do so, and they'll have shareable profile, they'll have projects they build. And then just another thing you mentioned that will be a good segue is you talked about they'll have opportunity to blog. Can you tell us why do you think it's important for developers to share articles or blog, even if they don't think they're good writers?
I personally believe that you don't have to be a very good writer to start blogging. What you need to do is, like, you need to start writing for yourself first, not for community, not for anybody else, because the capacity of our brain is very limited. You cannot remember each and everything that you're learning every day, the problem that you're solving every day. So it's better to kind of start taking the notes, and it is so organic that you can actually take your notes and translate into some kind of written content, like a blog article.
Yeah.
And the side effect of that is huge. Once that happens, then it is not only for you, right? There are many other people who are facing the similar kind of challenges. They kind of keep learning from this. You also have a chance of earning money. Why not, right? There
Yep.
are a lot of folks that pay for writing per article. Good sum, right? So I feel that the blogging is something should be very organic to a developer, from the
Yep.
note taking till the content that you kind of trying to create. So in React Play platform, we strongly encourage that if you are building a play, that's a project that we call as a play, you
Yep.
also start writing something that how you have built your kind of journey, your technical way, whatever you have, blocker that you have faced, everything, right? I personally take my time to review those drafts, give them feedback, so that they also kind of improve in terms of their content structure and things like that. And finally, we kind of publish that on Reactive blog. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And by the way, I want to say for a lot of people that are like afraid to publish stuff out there, or kind of like, what I would say, just jump into it. And I just going to quickly share my blog that I have, not because I'm impressed with it. It's actually not impressive at all. But the fact is that something is better than nothing, and you have to
Absolutely.
start. So this is my Coding After 30 site. I'm literally just using it for notes for myself at this point. So like I did a GraphQL example in Strapi. I'm like, okay, I did some custom stuff here. Let me remember it. And I put it here. And so look, not that impressive. It's just a regular simple blog with simple content. And so everybody just get stuff out there, because it's a huge help. And something that you just mentioned is, because I know you wrote some stuff for free code camp as well. And then there's other platforms like Strapi. Actually, we have a Write for Community program where we pay for people to write content for us. So you are absolutely right. There's opportunity to make money. And one thing I also found, and I don't, you could tell me if this has been the case for you, is the more you start writing about stuff you're learning, you actually feel like you're understanding those topics better. Has that been like your experience in your writing journey?
Absolutely. I think that's something is very amazing experience. I'll probably take an instance of Strapi. Okay. So I was exploring Strapi with Gatsby, and I built something which is like, very simple app, like a shoe store using Gatsby and Strapi. And when I started kind of composing my article, I wrote an article also about this one, like step by step how you can use Gatsby and Strapi together. I felt like, this is when my learning is complete, because it is like you are explaining something. One thing is you are doing by yourself, and the next thing is like you are explaining something. So teaching is 100x reading, teaching is 100x learning, right? So it means that you are teaching through your content, you're teaching through your blog. It means you are also learning it better. I've got a lot of great feedback about that particular piece of content, that it is useful for people, the project that I've built, the step-by-step approach of it. So it's definitely, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And before we get to our next thing, I'm just gonna share quickly where people could find you on your website. And I love it. It says writer, YouTube creator, and mentor, which is awesome. And you could see here you have nice articles that you wrote, which is fantastic. And your blog looks way better than mine. So I have a lot to work on. And also here's the YouTube channel. Go subscribe. You're doing really good, by the way. Since you said it's a fairly recent channel, you have pretty good number of subscribers. I had my channel for a long time, and to get first 100 subscribers literally took me 2 years. So you're killing it. You're doing fantastic. So go ahead and check out the YouTube channel. So next question. So that's awesome. React Play. So I feel like if you're a developer and you're learning, definitely go sign up for React Play and start using it, building cool things, sharing. This is one thing I can't understate, is that you're only gonna get better at coding, where you're gonna feel like you're job ready, when you're practicing building things from scratch and you're doing it in a community with other people, because you're literally simulating what your work would look like. You're going to be building something, people going to be reviewing your code, they're going to be doing a pull request. And so I love that that's what you're helping people achieve with React Play, as well as, guess what? They're building pieces for their portfolio. And it's a fun way to be involved with the community. So I really like that. So I know you've been on this journey for a while, and I know there's few people who are just starting out. And we actually had a question from Scout who said, what would be the best language to learn for beginners? And of course, it's depending on what they want to do. Is it web development? Is it backend? Is it data science? Whatever it is. But from your experience, if someone was just starting out, what advice would you give them?
You know what? This is probably the most frequently asked question that I get. And my answer is very standard. I never call out any language name. So what I want them to learn, everyone, is the programming concept first. So there are few programming concepts that we need to kind of really learn. For example, say conditions or the loops, the logics. Irrespective of whatever the programming language you are picking up, these are your building block for building any end application. So if you're picking up JavaScript thinking that you'll be going towards the web development, or picking up Python, maybe you're thinking you'll be doing machine learning or data science, or even you're picking up Java or say Scala or whatever it is. These things are kind of pretty standard. So first figure out what is the path that you're going to take. Are you going for a full stack developer or a front end developer or a back end developer or whatever it is? And based on that particular thing, you can actually decide your stack. Nothing is good, nothing is bad. Today, even if you take the web development frameworks and the libraries, the amount of numbers that are there in the market is almost like vegetable market, right? You can pick up anything. You can pick up React, Vue, Slate, anything. But it's all depends what exactly is needed for you. If everything is there is a career. I would say there is a career with Python, there is a career with JavaScript, there is also a career with Java, there is a career with everything. But if we don't know the fundamentals of programming, if you are weak in fundamentals of programming, I think our struggle starts with any language that we are selecting from the list. So my primary thing would be focus on programming concepts, focus on data structures, focus on logic building, and then take the language based on what career path you are actually looking for.
And so to your point, here's the mistake I made, and I wasted literally 2 years of my learning journey, is I tried to learn every possible language at the same time, which was the biggest mistake. So I remember I took C, C++, I took Python, Ruby, so long ago, when it was super popular, and then I never got anywhere. And the things only changed when I decided on choosing one language. It doesn't matter what it is. For me, it happened to be JavaScript, but you could do it with Python, with whatever, and spend enough time to do exactly what you said, learn the basic fundamentals of that language, and use that language to learn the programming concepts that you see in other languages as well. And what I realized after I finally got a better understanding of JavaScript, when I got my first job, they told me that I had to learn C#, and learning a second language after you understand the fundamentals was way easier than trying to make sense of everything at the beginning before you have the fundamentals. So that's such an excellent point. And you have, like, I'm looking at your YouTube channel again. I'll put a link also because you have a lot of cool videos where you're covering a lot of cool stuff. You even have a video on promise chain. I think that's a good one to for people to kind of get a good understanding. So I'll put that in the chat for anybody interested. So another question I have, actually, here's somebody. I'll come back to my question a little bit because I do want to answer questions from people in the chat, from the community as well. It says, "Sup guys, quick question. I'm having much better time learning React.js than Vanilla.js. Should I be worried with React? Am I actually building stuff?" Greetings from Switzerland. So what I would say is that you need to have fundamental understanding of JavaScript before learning React, even though React makes it super easy to start to create stuff. But one thing I found with beginner students is that if they don't know enough JavaScript, when they're using React, they're not sure what's React specific and what's just plain JavaScript. What advice would you give in that regard for someone?
Yeah, I'll probably echo the same thing that you just said. There is React. If you're going to use, I've seen, like, a lot of folks is like they just started getting with React and they're probably taking two components, kind of talking to each other and building something cool. Well, the problem comes is like when you really face a problem and you have to debug and you have to find out, then you are getting again into the fundamental and the basics level, and you are stuck for 2 days compared to somebody who is like having JavaScript background solving it in kind of few minutes, right? So that's where the difference comes, my friend. So you have to have that fundamental JavaScript stuff ready, a few steps of JavaScript mandatory before you step into React.
I'll tell you why I'm laughing, because I remember I did the opposite approach where I was like, let me jump into React. So I started learning React. I built a project from Udemy, like 80% to done, like 80%. I spent so much time and then something broke and I could not figure out what it was. I tried so hard and I ended up like restarting the project from scratch because I did not have enough basic understanding of JavaScript to know where am I going wrong. And there was so much wasted time. So now I'm laughing because I'm like, I should have heard this advice beforehand, but we're giving it because it's from experience. Like, definitely get the fundamentals of JavaScript. By the way, if you haven't smashed the like button, smash the like button, not for me, but for our awesome guest and the people we have in the chat today. But doing really good. And people always ask about what is the, here's another topic I want to talk about because people are asking these questions, and we'll get back to a lot of the stuff on point. But Carol says, what is the best React course? Tried few, and I really think they're all outdated or teacher styles are strange. And what I'm going to say to you, it's so easy to fall into like, what course is better? What should I do? Like, let me buy 20 billion courses. I have over 700 courses on Udemy. I don't even want to do the math because I could have probably bought a car with the amount of money I spent. And I probably completed only 10 of them. And so the thing that I'm going to say is find an instructor you like, but don't overthink. And I'd love to get like your opinion on tutorial hell and this topic. But what I found out, there's bajillion React courses. I think like you could even go to Tapas YouTube channel and probably learn the same stuff you would learn at the Udemy course or React course. So you don't even have to spend money. The education is there. The one thing that I would say, you just need to find one resource for the thing that you want to learn. So like find one resource for HTML, CSS, find resource one for JavaScript, let's say as example, find one for React, and don't try to get 20 different courses for one topic, because from my experience, specifically on Udemy, go and search all the React courses and then look at all the their content section of like the lesson outlines. 80% of all those bajillion courses, they share the same topic. So you don't need to like do 10 courses to learn React. Just get the one you like, because it's like when you're in school, after you do math level 1, do you go and take math level 1 again from a different teacher? You don't. You graduate. So let me get your opinion on tutorial hell, this obsession with Udemy course or any course in general, and what do you think is the solution to get out of there as quickly as possible?
Yeah, so what I like a mindset to keep is like, I don't have to learn everything. Okay, so I don't keep a mindset that, okay, so I am now starting with React and I'll be starting React today, and after 2 years I'll be finishing the React course. May not be. I may not need everything to learn from React. What I would be focusing on is basically I take a course which I feel engaging to me. I am understanding. I am connecting to that course creator or the person that who is teaching. And if I'm having that kind of connect, then what I'll do, I'll go ahead with this course and I'll stop my course hunting there. I won't go for look for any other courses or the similar topic, because I found somebody whom I can connect to. I found somebody who is engagingly teaching me. Okay. And then after going there, what I'll be doing is like, the moment someone teach something, obviously that person will be teaching with hands-on exercise. I will take that hands-on exercise what the teacher is teaching just for reference. I won't think that if I just mimic, I have learned that particular topic. I will be building my own case studies. I'll be
Yes.
building my own
Yes.
use case, and I'll be solving for the similar kind of thing that I'm learning. Unless I do this, my learning is going to be incomplete. What we'll be doing is like, I'll be just check those check boxes, right? I have crossed this path,
Yeah.
crossed this path, and that's it. Again, you have to come back. So don't do hurry. Take your time. Make sure that if you're learning 20%, you're practicing 40%. That's my rule. If I'm learning for 6 hours, I'm learning 2 hours, I'm coding for 4 hours, I'm practicing for 4 hours.
Yes.
That's my
Yes.
rule.
Oh my
Unless
God.
you do that, you have to spend 60 hours for the same thing. Okay,
Yes.
so please do that. That's what I'll be kind of suggesting to people.
Oh my gosh. Like, we're so in alignment. Like, one thing I'm going to tell you is this: if you just take the course on Udemy and you just go through it and you watch it and you don't do the things you just mentioned, you're literally just getting good at taking courses, but you're not improving your development skills, and you're definitely not learning how to build projects from scratch. So the thing that you said, build things to have your own case study, or basically try to build or solve a problem that you have based with the knowledge that you acquired from the course, but not using the course like projects to say, I solved my problem. No, when someone presents the course, they're presenting a problem they already solved to show you to learn. But the learning starts from you building your own thing from scratch based on the knowledge that you got. And so a lot of people ask me, Paul, how do I start projects from scratch? Well, you start a project from scratch. And for me, when I started doing that, it was really hard because I had no idea what to do. And so through pain, suffering, because it's so hard at the beginning, I'm not going to lie to you, I eventually got to a point where I started to build that confidence. So what I realized, courses will get you the knowledge that you need to start to transitioning to building projects for yourself. But doing courses is not going to get you hired. What's going to get you hired is the work that you put into building your own personal projects, failing at them, learning from them, and putting that in your portfolio. Like, I'll give you an example. So Engine Boy came to my YouTube channel and he shared his bug tracker project that he built, which was phenomenal. And here's the one thing I'm going to say: because he built it himself, this is what I did with him. I literally was looking through his code and I said, what does this line do on line 37? What does this code do? And he was able to tell me. Why? Because he wrote it. He probably made a bunch of mistakes when he was doing it. He learned from those mistakes. So he has real experience based on his experience, learning journey. And so for him, like, he's able to explain that code really, really well. And it's not something you're going to be able to do with tutorials, because just the nature of them, you didn't create it by yourself. You're just following an instructor. And the other point you made is, for every 2 hours you spend learning, you should probably spend 4 hours coding. And that's huge. That's humongous.
Exactly. I want to add one more thing is like, as you spoke about React Play, I think this is where React Play plays a good role. Because once you're following a course, you are following whatever the teacher is teaching, which is great. We are learning that, and you are practicing now. Now, if you are practicing with your own case studies, you're practicing your own project, most probably the teacher is not going to review what you're writing. So that's why we offer the platform. It's an open source platform where you come and build the project with us. We are going to review and give you the feedback, like what is good, what is not good, how do you improve, and things like that. Engine Boy Sham is one of the code reviewer there today. So he is also reviewing a lot of code. He is one of our great member of our community. So we all are growing together. We all are learning together. And many times it happens, Paul, is like looking into one piece of code. We learn a lot of stuff that this guy or this girl has done a great learning. They have learned the fundamentals. So they know how to kind of write custom hooks. They know how to use certain things. We learn a lot of stuff while doing the code review. It's a kind of both way thing. It's just not about somebody putting it and we are just reviewing the stuff.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I just shared the link again to reactplay.io. Definitely a good and amazing resource for everybody. I'm a big proponent of build stuff yourself from scratch, because that's the best way you're going to learn. And the fact now you have a platform to do it, It's amazing. And so another question that's common, Parham asks, Paul, can you talk about job requirements? There's a giant list of what employees ask, and it's making me mad. YouTubers say learn HTML, CSS, React, but jobs want 10% more. So let's kind of get your opinion of what you should be able to do from your standpoint, talking to people to get, let's say, a junior level front-end job, because back-end, I want to talk about it in a minute, but it's a slightly different topic, and I'll say my opinion why I think it is. But let's talk about junior front-end web development. What do you think people should be able to do that they fulfill some of these requirements?
Yeah, so there are two parts of the story. So there are certain job requirements as such that though they are saying is like full stack, front end development, but in the end of the day, the job description is so big and so huge that you really don't comply to it. Okay, so that I kind of blame the person like who is putting that kind of job description. It's very ambiguous. Okay, so very sorry for that. But for a genuine junior web developer, I would say that the understanding of basic HTML structure, the basic CSS selectors, how they kind of work together, and a strong fundamental of JavaScript is very important. So these three things are pretty important. Even if you know CSS a little bit less, but you're very strong in kind of JavaScript, I think you have higher chance of winning that game. And why it is more so, because once you are getting more and more stronger to JavaScript, believe me, you will find any of the framework which is built on top of it, kind of adapting to it very easily. So a person who can move really easy from say Angular to React to Vue to something else, because they probably have understood the underlying architecture of them, right? And for them, it is everything other than it's a syntax that they have to probably learn, or the ideology. So somewhere the people will call components, somewhere the people will call something, somewhere they call hooks, somewhere they call services. So the terminologies are a bit different, and the little bit of syntaxes are kind of different. So for junior developer, I would say the complete focus on HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then pick up a particular language or framework with an understanding of what exactly this language or framework here to solve for, not going for the syntax. I think that is the biggest mistake that many people do, saying that, hey, okay, React is very easy to probably get started, or Angular is very difficult to get started. You need to understand why exactly that particular framework is there, what kind of problem it is going to solve, and why exactly I need to learn it. And I think answer of this question is very important. And once you get the answer of these questions, learning that particular language's framework is pretty easy. So just to summarize these three things, of course, the practice. Even if you're doing something like with HTML and CSS, make sure that you're making a page, making it responsive. You're playing with the elements of HTML, playing with the selectors of CSS. So you have some great background without knowing much of the other frameworks and technologies that you can do basic stuff. And then put the JavaScript. So you know that putting the business logic, but you are doing things in a bit hard way. We are doing a lot of DOM manipulation of it by yourself. Then understand React. Then you'll understand, oh boss, I am not going to do this DOM manipulation by myself. The library is going to do this for me. And that is why it is declarative. So let's bring in React and start doing it. So once you have this understanding, you're ready for your junior development, that particular path already, because you'll be able to build everything with this kind of stack.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And I'm assuming like when you mean JavaScript also, because this is something that I found out when people are hiring, you need to have this understanding is with JavaScript, definitely being comfortable with either promises or async, and then being able to do API calls to be able to kind of, at least from the front end, to be able to handle like the basic CRUD functionality that is so common. So I would say definitely make sure when you're on your JavaScript journey, you play with some APIs, even like JSON server, like you could do it locally and create like a simple CRUD application. I think that's very important, especially nowadays. And like you said, once you understand good fundamentals of JavaScript, picking up a framework is definitely easier. And like you said, you know the problem that it's solving. And so I 100% agree. And that's really cool. I think a lot of people obsess with stuff, which brings me to the second question, which everybody has different opinions on this topic is, are there junior full stack or backend developer jobs? And the reason why I say this is because the scope of what a full stack developer is, because it does touch database and DevOps, or if you're like a just complete backend developer, the amount of like stuff you do with database, data communication, and troubleshooting issues in deployment, which is such a huge topic that I feel like realistic expectation, in my opinion, is that I would always recommend go for front end, get hired first, and then make a transition, because I think getting a full stack junior role or full stack, or back end junior role, it's not a thing, I think. And let me know if I'm completely wrong or missing some information here.
It probably is I'm not sure if it's a coincidence. I'm writing an article now. The article title says "Full stack is a joke." Okay, and it also says "Never mind." Okay, so why I'm writing this article, because if you write like what comes to your mind when you hear the term full stack. I just tweeted something and I got tons of reply, which only gives a lot of memes. People are like, very hilarious replies and things like that. And see, that is probably the funny side. But the sad side of story is like the full stack, that word is sold very, very differently to different people. Okay. So if you are a junior engineer and you are so much oversold with the term full stack, I think you are probably doing something wrong to yourself. Get a start with front end development, or maybe the back end development, whatever it is. Like, get a start, get into a job, then expand your wing and other areas. Don't really try to be like that perfect full stack junior developer and aim to get hired. You may get hired, but you probably don't have to do that. That's what my point is, right? So I'll be capturing some of these things in my upcoming article. Please do a read.
Definitely, when you get it done, I'll follow your blog too. Definitely hit me up, share it. I'll share it because I think it's a very good topic, and I think anybody looking to break into the field, don't overthink it. Start with front end, and I found like my introduction to full stack happened to go organically. So. While studying, I've done some Node projects, but I didn't do Node. And then I'm a full stack developer now. I still I'm a front end developer. That's what I applied for. And then over time, I use Strappy CMS, which to me is the easiest way to set up an API because I'm so comfortable with it. So I'm able to build full stack applications without being a full stack developer. Because one of the things that I like is from the standpoint is if I were to build a website for a client, what's the easiest tech that I could do? Because I really believe in standing on the shoulders of giants. So for me, I don't even have to know a lot. But what's interesting about interacting with a CMS is that I got to see how they structure their backend. And over time, I started getting more into Node.js and Koa. And it's been a very natural, organic transition as I was learning new things. But I've never set out let me be a full stack developer. And if I did, I don't think I would have got hired as quickly as I did, because I feel like it's too much and it's such a wide definition of things. And actually, I'm going to tell you, I don't know if this is your experience, full stack interview or back end interview questions are way harder than front end. I'm just saying that right now. So if you want to save yourself frustration and you're looking to break into the industry quickly, start with front end. It's awesome. What do you personally find exciting about development? What things do you follow or keep an eye on?
So when I started my career in the beginning, the thing that I felt about development is the building things. I'm at the end, I'm seeing some output. That kind of kept me very exciting about development and programming. But when I started my journey with the web development, I think the scenario was completely different. I like making things. I like, even if it is a small piece, small calculator, small something, I like making things, and I like talking about what I'm making. So that is kind of very much connected for me with development. So for me, the definition of development right now is not only just coding. To be very frank, coding is just a part of it, just a side of it. What we tend to ignore in terms of development, the whole cycle of development, is how do you really get better at your debugging skill? Because if you are in a situation where you have to debug a memory leak, even if it is on the say browser side or wherever, or the backend side, how are you going to approach this problem? What's your thought process about performance improvement? I can write code, you can write code. Your code might write in 30 milliseconds and my code maybe executes in 2 minutes. Same for the same operation, right? So how do I make sure that I write code which is performant? How do I make sure that if my code is deployed somewhere, it's scalable for so many users, right? So right now, my development is only about this thought process. the
Yeah.
debugging, performance, security, scalability, because this is what I think that not more people, most of the people talk about, even in any courses. If you pick up any web development course
None
or
of
any
them
full
talk
stack
about it.
course,
No,
none
no,
of them
no,
talk
no.
about this.
Why?
None of
Because
them
it's
even
hard.
touch.
It's
It's
hard.
hard.
Nobody wants to. But that's all. But that's the thing. What I found out, like in full stack and backend, these are exactly issues you need to be able to understand and
Yes.
solve. And that's why, in my opinion, it's hard to get into. Even caching, which there's
Yes.
no course I took about caching. Like it's
Right.
like it's such a big part, And yeah, that's awesome.
How to handle authentication, authorization, like, so these are the things that you need to actually think about, right? And nobody teach you that. Only experience that teach you that. And you need to really make sure, like, be junior or mid or senior, once you get into an organization, you don't have escape route. You
Yep.
will get certain days this kind of issues to deal with, and then
Yeah.
probably you will think like, well, I need to kind of keep learning. So yeah, these are the things that like kick me a lot, nowadays.
Nice. No, that's awesome. And to me, like what I like about coding is like I really like solving problems that I get stuck on. And there's just something there's like this endorphin rush once you solve it, and it just feels so good. And I like the fact that you're creating stuff and you're putting stuff out there. Actually, someone asked this interesting question. Where do you find projects building assignments? Go to reactplay.io. That's my answer to you. That's what you
Yeah,
do. That's
I'll be saying the same. Yeah, there is
that's the
ideas
answer.
page. There's ideas page, by the way, where you have a lot of ideas you can actually pick from, and you also can contribute to us with your ideas. That if you think that there is something cool that somebody else can pick up, please welcome.
Yeah, no, that is a really, really, really awesome, like really cool. I had like another question and like it went in my brain and then left. Like, hold on, let me think about what it was. Actually, another reason why people should practice blogging, because I want to ask you more because you've been in the industry a lot more, because as a developer, at some point you're going to be writing documentation. So like part of writing is something that you're going to do. So if you're just starting out, I think like writing little technical blogs is a good way for you to practice writing documentation. But with that being said, like in your roles prior, what was like the time split in terms of like coding and then writing the documentation, and then how important was that? Because I think that's another thing people don't talk about when teaching like the beginner courses, is that there's this whole other aspect of it.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll give you one, instance, one example that happened. Is like I was working with a customer issue, and I fixed that customer issue, and then I just took some notes, wrote about the steps that I followed of building this customer issue, and I kept it to myself. And after a couple of months, one of my colleague was going through a customer issue, which I felt is almost on the similar line. I didn't even sit with him. I just gave them the documentation that I prepared, and he later told that following the documentation, he could actually address this issue. So
Nice.
this actually made me think, like, once you are writing something, taking notes or any form, if you just make this public, you can decide like how much public you want to go, being
Yep.
within your organization or just completely to the whole world, is up to you. But once you make it public, it makes a lot of sense. It's going to solve problem for a lot of people. That's why Stack Overflow even is so popular, because you're getting a lot of answers that somebody have solved with certain kind of, at least some steps way. You can pick up code or whatever it is. So now for the lengthy articles or any kind of step-by-step things that you something explore, if you just take it out, it is always good. It's good for you, it's good for the community. One other thing that I feel that is like is missing is many people, they don't take this blogging or content creation, written content creation seriously, because they feel that the language is a big barrier. Most of the things that you have to write in English, and that's where you have the most of the population, reading population
Yeah.
from. Being a non-English speaker, I can assure you that that's probably the least problem that you need to bother about.
Yeah.
English is not the main problem that you need to bother about. The main thing that you need to bother about or to practice is your urge of taking that pen or paper or sitting on the keyboard and start writing.
Exactly.
You have many tools like
Like
Grammarly.
exactly. I was gonna say I write everything in Grammarly because I suck
Yeah,
at writing.
yeah,
100%.
me too. Me too. Otherwise, probably I'll be writing everything in passive voices if I write by myself. So take those tool help, and take your content out. Everybody is storyteller in their heart. They will be writing things very uniquely. Just go ahead and share with the world. Start your blogging journey. It's amazing, actually.
So here's another thing I want to say, because this is really ties into getting out there in the world. Like you created React Play to create a community for people to grow together. And there's this aspect of working with others, being part of the community. And from my experience, talking to a bunch of people, and this is something that I didn't struggle with much, not because it was easy. It's because of my previous jobs that I worked, relationship building was like super huge. But I hear when people are starting to apply for jobs, what they do is they'll send a bunch of resumes blindly. They don't try to ask for referrals. They don't try to make connections with people that work at companies. And then they're like always having a hard time getting hired. So I'll give you a quick example. I applied to IBM a while ago. I just sent my resume and it automatically got declined. And it was one of those like machine like answers like next time, whatever. It's like nothing like that made you feel good. But here's the crazy part. I had a friend in IBM and I told him that, and he's like, dude, why did you not talk to me? I would have at least referred you to our hiring manager and you could have at least had an interview. It doesn't mean that I would have got a job, but you would have been like much closer. So what I want to talk about is like how important is this networking, building community, building relationships to help new developers to find opportunity to get hired.
It's as important as you're learning coding. That's what I say. Today's age, it is that important. It was not that important 10 years back, or when I started my career, but today it is damn important, because otherwise you will be the person who is in silo doing at your home or wherever it is, and the things are not coming out. The way that community helpful, of course, the good community, the right community, the healthy community, helpful to you is like it shape your career. It gets you to the people whom you can connect to get your job or build your career to the next level. And after that, it's up to you, like how are you going to make it. But that connection is pretty important. Many people don't know actually, like, the power of it, the power of being in a community and being active in a community, just not being there and just keep watching what people are doing, contributing to it. Talking to people, give your sense of things. People are not going to tell, if you ask a question, people are not going to say, hey, why are you asking a silly question? Nobody's going to tell that, because once you start asking questions, you actually earn respect in the community. You are somebody people actually look up for. So these are the things that we need to understand probably from the soft skilling perspective of ourselves, and then get connect to those community, get connect to those people, and get greater advantage of it. And one thing I want to note is I've learned by myself, once you understand that how a community is helped you for your growth, it will be very automatic and organic for you to help others in the community.
Yes, 100%.
It comes from heart. It's a cycle, and very good to build that particular cycle.
I was going to say around this community, have you ever considered of doing like a React Play meetup, like a monthly thing where people
very soon.
Nice.
So I'll give you something that we are building in Discord right now. We have a Discord in our React Play IO at the bottom of it. The Discord link is there.
Yeah, I'll go share right now.
Yeah, so if people can join Discord, and then what we are going to start, we have something called React Play Live. So which goes on YouTube. We are going to bring a contributor from React Play platform, and we're going to do probably the same thing what Paul you are doing with me, like question answer, trying to understand how somebody have built a project, what kind of challenges they have faced, how they have learned something from the code reviews, things like that we're going to discuss. We're also planning some physical meetup next year, not in this year, but from early next year, we're going to do physical meetup from React Play.
Yeah, no, that is really awesome. What I found, going to meetups and then building cool stuff around the thing. Every meetup, even if they don't ask, because this is something I've been doing because I like to force myself to get out there. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to ask if it's okay if I could do a presentation or a talk. So I've been doing a lot of remix stuff. So I actually about to give a second talk in our local Remix Austin meetup. And what's cool about it, given the talk, like I built relationship, and I actually had somebody reach out to be part of a whole other conference based on that connection I built. And then what I've noticed, a lot of meetups, sometimes they might have people from other companies that attend who actually will be like, hey, my company is hiring. If you want to share your resume with me, like go ahead and do so. And I think it's such a good growth community. But what I wanted to say about this community stuff, I think it'll be amazing when you do the meetup and creating these connections, because if you, and I know as developers sometimes, like people think like, Paul, you're so outgoing because it's natural to you. It's not natural. It's because in the industry before that I was in for almost 18 years, I grew my communication skills from, over that 18 years, because the best way to make a sale for me was to talk to people and ask for a referral. And so it's a skill I developed. But what I found out that carried it over, and this is what I tell anybody in development, like I know some of us are shy, but do the best that you can to get out there, talk to people, connect with people, use React Play to build friendships, connections, and you will have more opportunities from your networking than you are from the actual code that you write. So I am lucky in the sense that I've had my previous job where I developed the skill, but all my jobs, literally from the internship that I had to my current job at Strappy, they were all gotten because of someone I knew or someone I made friends with or someone. And so I know that sounds kind of like people like, well, you got lucky. It's no. Networking is not luck. It's a skill. And
Yes.
being a community, and just like you said, is just as important as coding. And I'm glad that you said it, because I can't overstate that enough, because that will open doors to you. So join React Play, become a contributor, like work on stuff, other platforms as well. Talk to people on Discord. I shared the link to React Play Discord. Build friends in the industry and get out there, do meetups, do your own like talks, even if you feel like my first talk, not my first talk, a lot of my initial talks sucked, but it's just a learning, growing pain. And so that's why I kind of like the thing that you have on your website, create a mentor, educator. And like, to me, it's like, those are all the things you need to do if you want to be part of the community and have the widest reach and sharing things. That's awesome. So we talked about React Play. We talked about blogging, why it's important. We talked about how there's actually opportunity to write and make money. Can you actually talk about, because I know you wrote some articles for Free Code Camp. You have your own blog that you write. But can you talk a little bit more about if someone was interested in maybe possibly making some money with writing, what would you recommend they do, or some of the resources that you use, or some of the websites that you found do that?
Yeah, sure. So the first thing is, like, if you are somebody who is kind of just getting started with writing, don't worry about whether you are going to earn or not. I mean, that thought process. If you just started to write to earn, I think you might be disappointed. That's how I would be saying. Like, you should not be, the goal is to have that. Your goal would be to build consistency. The moment you build consistency in terms of content creation, you will be noticed. And there are few tricks that I have found by doing stuff. So for example, have your blog, like your own blog, and then you start writing your articles, and make sure you syndicate your articles in all other popular platforms. But by syndicating, I mean republishing your article in all other platforms by setting the canonical link to your original article. So some of the platforms that where you can do on dev.to is a very popular. There's a huge reader base that you have. You have Hashnode as another one as a coming up, a blogging platform. You have Showcase, another platform that is kind of coming up for the community to grow. So you have multiple such platform where you can actually syndicate your articles. And then you have LinkedIn, where you share your article. You have Twitter, where you share your article. And believe me, there are people who are actually looking into all this platform to figure out, like, who is this guy, can write a piece of article for me? Can I go and talk to him or her, and let's hire him or her for writing my next piece? I got my first assignment from somebody who looked into dev.to, one article that got some amount of likes or things like that. And that person reached out to me, hey, can you write an article? I'm going to pay you $300 for article. I was like, what? I was doing all for free these days.
Whoa.
Are you going to pay me $300? Then I understood, okay, people pay $750 as well. Okay, great. So that's how I'm saying, like, be consistent. Try to span across multiple platform. And another important thing is, like, stick to your niche. So if you're somebody who is like, JavaScript stuff, Python stuff, or Web3, or HTML, CSS, or whatever it is, just be stick to your niche, so that wherever there is something around that people are looking for, you are going to come, slowly, even in the Google search, in SEO ranking and things like, you will make it. So people start knowing that, okay, this person is there who really write good content on this particular area. So whenever there is a need for somebody to reach out to write something on that area, you are always there. So initially, I actually wrote a lot of stuff about Jamstack, and when Jamstack was kind of booming, I got a lot of writing assignment for Jamstack alone, from those kind of clients. So that's what I would suggest to do.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And so one thing I want to bring this back because it all ties in, and definitely React Play is a great example of this concept of build in public, code in public, get involved, because you don't want to build things in a silo where nobody knows who you are. And so, for instance, like I'll give you an example. I've been learning Remix a lot. So I started like sharing like my project that I'm building on Twitter, and then I will tag Remix Run, and then other people from the community will start engaging. And so now you're building something greater than just you coding by yourself. Not only are you able to learn from others, but you're also engaged with the community. And here's another thing that I've noticed, and I just literally realized this like last week when we had a meeting at a company, and my boss made this joke where he said, "Man, Paul, you're publishing a lot of Remix content on Twitter. You're doing a lot of stuff, and you're engaging with them. It's like you're almost going to be working there soon." And I'm like, no, I'm not leaving my company. But to me, what's funny is that the CEO of the company kind of noticed that engagement, and that's exactly true. People do notice, and it's another way to network is by building things publicly, sharing things. And this is why, like I said, I'll put it on the screen again. React Play is amazing place to get your journey started, learn, create. I like the socializing part the best. Share your plays with the community. The best way to build in public. Exactly. Share your learning. You can share your plays on social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, to name a few, with just a single click. And that's amazing. Like I said, everything you said at the beginning of the stream, what I love about React Play, and I'm glad that I discovered it, because I was like, this is something that is needed, is this idea of giving a platform for people to work together, get feedback, and build a kind of authority of sharing projects that they've done, especially when they're starting out. So amazing, really cool. So I had another question sometimes I have so many questions that I forget the question I had prior to the one I had, and it's usually the most interesting one. By the way, anything that you want to add that maybe we haven't talked about yet?
Yeah, sure. I want to add one piece I forgot to kind of bring in the beginning, is we are refactoring React Play in a way the base framework about adding the project is any framework agnostic. So it means that platform you can take and make an Angular play, you can make a Vue play, you can make whatever play you want. So the base framework will be very much JavaScript bound stuff with a lot of NPM based. You install stuff and things are kind of working. On top of that, you can integrate with React, you can put Angular, you can put Vue, whatever it is. So we are coming up with that architecture very soon, so that we don't want to kind of limit it to say React Play is only for React developers. If you are an Angular community, go take the best and create Angular Play. Make it open source. As long as you're making open source, we are happy to give you the base and kind of go ahead with it. So I wanted to kind of mention that we are going to do that for the community.
Nice. No, that's awesome. And since you just brought this up, I know originally you didn't start this as open source, but now it is. What was your motivation to make it open source? And can you talk what it's been like working with open source, and what benefits do you think it brings?
Okay, so everything that we spoke just now, I think all this thing you will get in open source to exercise, right?
Oh, okay.
So for example, you probably won't get a company to just exercise your skill. They won't hire you just for that. Either they hire you and they kind of pay you and get to make work done. You cannot exercise your soft skill going to a company or kind of being in a community just like that. But open source is what that provides you all around the cases. It's not only just about coding. It's where you can actually do content creation. It's where you can do code review. You can do socialized stuff. You can be a dev advocate. You can play actually CI/CD role, DevOps stuff. You can play all sort of role under one umbrella project, right? So that's why when I discover open source, I discovered by contributing a very small thing in a Google Chrome, right? And that was probably just making adjustment to some of the documentation, nothing more than that. And when the maintainer of that particular project told me, like, I have probably done a very big thing by doing this particular changes in the documentation, because a lot of users are actually reading the documentation before they're trying out things, and it was like on face something error, and I have actually fixed that. So though the effort was very less, but the impact of it is so wide that it made me feel that my contribution was very, very huge. I was made feel that by that particular open source community. And the same philosophy I also apply for any projects that I maintain in the open source stuff. I want to make sure that people go all round. They actually not to focus on only code, but they know like how they can talk about all the contributions that they're going to make in the public, how they can be part of the community, how they kind of go for the writing blogs. That's why you see that React Play blog also, I'm pushing for it.
Yeah.
I want them to speak. So for example, I probably even now also I'm not a great speaker. And if I go 2 years back, I was not at all somebody who can stand in front of people and kind of start, speaking. My legs would be shivering. That's what I was. But I want to encourage people now come to YouTube live, talk about their experiences of how they are building things, to encourage them to kind of speak. Open source platform is going to even give you that. So open source is kind of all around, and try out open source. Right now, Hacktoberfest is going on. I think that's an awesome place to kind of get started.
Let's talk about Hacktoberfest. Thank you for bringing it up, because I completely forgot. Hacktoberfest is happening. What is it quickly? And are you doing something in React Play for Hacktoberfest?
Yes. So Hacktoberfest is basically is a celebration of open source that happens, in the October month of the year, and it is backed by DigitalOcean and its partner. So what we do is, like, just to celebrate the open source and make more people enthusiastic about open source, there will be a bunch of projects which says that, okay, we are accepting contributions, and why don't you contribute to our project on this issues, and we'll make sure that you are credited for each of your contributions. And once you make 4 contributions, you actually can earn some goodies and things like that. So this year you can earn t-shirt, or they will be planting a tree on your name. So things like that you can do. So for that, you have to do is, like, you go to hacktoberfest.com, register yourself. Once you register yourself, contribute to any open source project that is marked with the label Hacktoberfest.
Okay,
nice. And then you can actually get started. So this year what we have done is, like, in React Play, we are doing 3 things basically. So one thing is about, you can come to React platform, go to issue list, you will find the issues tagged with the label Hacktoberfest. You can pick up any of the issues that is not assigned to somebody, and you can start working on that. Or if you find an issue in the platform, go ahead and create that. I'll mark it as Hacktoberfest. You start working on it, and we'll be accepting that. That's the first thing that we are doing. Second thing, you can come and create a play in React Play. It will be counted for Hacktoberfest because it's a contribution to the platform. Third thing, from this year, the low code and the no code contributions are counted. So it is not only about coding, as you're saying. So if you want to write a blog, you can write a blog in React Play blog, and we will kind of count you on Hacktoberfest contributions. So you can do a lot with React Play and Hacktoberfest. Please join in. And even if you don't know React, for example, you can write a JavaScript article, or you can write probably Next.js article, or you write an Angular article, whatever it is, right? So React Play blog is not only about React. You can write GitHub article, open source article, whatever it is. You can actually do the contributions.
Yeah, and I just shared while you were talking about it, the Hacker Play, and I threw that link in.
I'll talk about the Hacker Play also. Yeah, I'll forget that. So Hacker Play is basically a hackathon going on in the month of October. As well. This is our first hackathon, by the way. Where we want you to give you a glimpse of what a full stack application development look like. So in the React Play, we are very much focused on building things with React, right? Now, if you see that most of the plays that has got built, they don't have a very strong backend integrations. They are probably happening on the UI side, right?
Yes.
Like, random codes or things like that happen on the UI side. But what we realized is, like, with a small help or small teaching, small tweak, you can learn a bit of GraphQL, and you can actually build a bit of GraphQL query, and using an NPM you can consume using your React component, and you can actually build something like bit full stack. So that's why we encourage you to build something which is bit full stack as part of Hacker Play. And the second thing is like, it's a great part being in a community. If you join your Discord, our Discord, we are going to hold your hand and we're going to make you successful by building this full stack application as part of this hackathon.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I need like the hottest thing. It's for people making a time to do things. And so what I like about Hacker Play, like everything that I wanted to see in things like you have, and you're really pushing this idea of people building stuff and you creating community for it. So I was actually, I do a lot of projects myself because I'm always trying to like come up my own business idea one day. They're all like failing ideas, but I'm like, man, like if I was going to support a project and like try to contribute in some way, I think this is it. And so after we get off the stream, I'm going to register. I'm going to learn the ropes.
Awesome.
I'll bother Engine Boy with questions on how I could get involved because I really believe in the platform because I wanted to do something similar to this. And I started my idea like a while ago, but I never implemented it. It has shares certain parallels with this, where basically what I realized is that there's a missing need, and you solved it with this application, which is like another thing I wanted to say. The first person to market wins. But whatever, no hard feelings. My idea is not even close to as good as this one, but this is the thing that I want to say is that the biggest issue I had as a self-taught developer is finding a community where you're publicly able to build things with others to build authority that you're a good developer. And what I would say this is like an idea I had for myself. So like the reality, I'm going to build my project. I don't know if I'll ever implement it, but this is one thing that I'm going to ask for you. And this is maybe something you could think about. Were you thinking of creating some sort of like a gamification of trying to, out of like all the people that do React plays, get a list of like the top React Play developer or users, where you're basically creating pre-qualified list of people that you could then maybe promote to recruiters to help them get hired, because people have a certain rating. And this is something that I wanted to do on my platform, which I don't even know if I'll ever get there. So you already have something set up. And so if this is something that you think would be like a good thing, like definitely go and run with it, because I feel this is the biggest contention I had, is for self-taught developers not having a platform where they're able to grow together with other people, which you already handle everything, and get to a point where you have this level of confidence that when you apply to a job, you're going to get hired.
Absolutely. Very good. Very good point. Yeah. And I'm seeing some of the contributions that are coming out of Hacker Play. Even just before coming to the stream, I saw someone from the community publicly posted on Twitter, hey, I built this part of Hacker Play. Why didn't you come and review my code? So see that confidence in someone, like, hey, I'm publicly putting my code, come give the comment, I'm going to build and submit it for this particular hackathon project. So which is awesome. That's kind of make me really, really proud.
No, it's awesome. And I know we're like right at time. I want to be mindful of your time. Thank you so much for joining us. I would love to have more conversations with you,
sure.
So whenever you're available, like hit me up. I think it'll be great. Definitely everybody go check out React Play. I'm going to throw the link one more time. I've been throwing links into the comments throughout this stream, but really good project. Join it, add some stars to it. And before we go, where are the best places for people to follow you on?
You can find me on Twitter, kind of most active. So you can follow me there. I'm there on LinkedIn as well. And of course, if you're somebody who wants to collaborate on code, please follow me on GitHub.
Nice. And I'll share your Twitter thing in just a second, if I know how to use Twitter. I'm like, this is the funny story. Like, I don't like Twitter, except for the fact that if you are wanting to get involved in the developer community, unfortunately, Twitter is one of the best places. So I've been kind of like, have to put my pains and thoughts on Twitter, because it's like, Twitter is a tool. You could use it for good. You could use it for bad. But I feel like if you're smart, and I just put your Twitter handle in, chat, you definitely a lot of good out of it. So by the way, thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. Everybody who tuned in, if you missed the beginning of this show, definitely go back and rewatch it. I'm going to reshare this a bunch of times. This was like a very amazing conversation. So thank you for being here, and we'll definitely chat more. And everybody else, have a good day. Good night. And before we go, any last parting words from you, Tapas?
No, I just say that whatever you're doing, just stay consistent to it, and you will make it.
Yes.
Once you be consistent, keep doing stuff, you will make it. Believe me. All right. Have a
Yes.
great day. Good night.
Take care, everybody. Bye bye.